Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Now this is an exciting time in the community because Update 6 is no longer in experimental. That's right, it's officially released onto the stable branch, and there's even been a few little extra bells and whistles that have been added into the game, even coming from the latest build of the experimental side of things, which of course, we're going to be checking out throughout the episode. But before we do, to catch you up on what's been going on in this world, I've just refitted my oil processing plant to now handle turbo fuel, which we sort of gain access to by rail. It's the first rail-based delivery we've got set up, where I'm simply moving compacted coal from the south of the map all the way to the west and mixing it with our current regular fuel, creating that turbo fuel. It lasts a little bit longer, it's a little bit more efficient, and it's given us room for a lot of power expansion as we produce way more than we need already. That expansion is now going to allow me to focus on what really matters, progression. So, getting to the next milestones, of course we've been capped, we've finished tier 6 a long time ago, and been waiting to get to the next space elevator phase. So I thought just really quickly here at the beginning of the game, we're outside of the oil processing plant on the far west of the map. I thought I would talk through how I've decided what we're going to be doing today, which is making a circuit board factory. Often people ask, how do you decide on your machines, how many machines you have, the rates at which they make things, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll let you into my little world here. So basically, having a look at what's needed for the space elevator phase, we need 2,500 versatile frames. Currently, we actually produce, I guess I'm not sure at the exact rate that we have, but I've got like 2,000 up in storage. The reason being, down in the south of the map, the steel refinery has machines there for making versatile frames, and I've just been hand delivering down the modular frames in between episodes for quite a long time. I've mentioned it several times throughout, because basically a big box fills up with modular frames here that we don't use, and I just empty them out and dump them in there, and we make versatile frames in the background. I used to sync them in the Awesome Sync, but people were like, you're gonna need them, you need a lot, so they've been storing up for a long time. You can only store 50 in a stack, so you can't actually store that many per box or per storage container, so you need a lot of space. So, that's kind of taken care of for us. The versatile frames, we can write that one off and say it's basically done. The next thing is modular engines. We've never made one, but it's straightforward enough. We need motors, rubber, and smart plating. Of course, we have a 15 per minute motor factor. We have 20 per minute rubber, I think, in the oil processing plant behind me. And then we have, I'm not too sure exactly, but I think it might be 5 per minute smart plating or something like that in the original iron factory that we have. If it's not that amount, it doesn't really matter because we got containers full of them. So this, again, basically done. So this led me to look around and go, what are we going to do next? What's left? What's needed? And can we just kind of skip over it and just dump it in manually, or do we need to actually build purpose-built factories for it? And it's adaptive control units. It's quite a complicated affair, though I don't think we actually need that many of them. That's neither here nor there. We really do need to set up the infrastructure for making these automatically. So, that requires automated wiring, 7.5 per minute just to make the standard one. And we already have automated wiring being made at 5 per minute. And it's just filling up containers as well. So we've actually got a lot of that, although I'd like to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, obviously. And we've increased our belt speeds and things since then, so I've no doubt that we can go back to that steel refinery and beef it up and get more of these out if we needed to. Then, of course, circuit boards, of which before I get ahead of myself, we need then heavy modular frames and computers. So, I'm like pointing at the screen with my left hand, basically thinking that we need circuit boards as a factory, modular frames as a factory, heavy, and computers as a factory. Now, the circuit board factory and computers can actually be put together, and I'll explain why really quickly. Inside of the circuit boards, we unlocked a new recipe at the end of the last episode for an alternate circuit board kind of recipe. Allow myself to introduce myself. And that's going to require plastic and quick wire as opposed to plastic and copper sheeting. So I was like, great, we've got tons of quick wire already. We make 420 per minute in a factory that's far down south. Basically down here. That makes 420 quick wire per minute. Already set up a long time ago. Let's just click back into this. The next thing is plastic. 10 per minute. We make plastic in the factory that's behind this window, of course. Although not that much. So we might have to do something with that. But that's basically 8.75 circuit boards per minute. Pretty good. We make a decent amount of circuit boards quite quickly with just a standard assembler. Of course, we can ramp that up massively. I'm hoping to build 10 of them in this episode, bringing us up to almost 90 per minute circuit boards. Adaptive control unit. So the other thing I noticed, so that's why I've chosen to kind of focus on this. I was like, okay, this is a cool new recipe. We make these things already. We just need to bring them together. Straightforward enough. But I also noticed, and I looked ahead, and I thought, oh, computers. How can we tackle this together? Well, computers require circuit boards. So we're going to be making a lot of circuit boards. They also requires plastic. Circuit boards require plastic. So those two they just go together, being close together. We also need screws. We just built a giant screw factory. And then we need cable. Cable, we have making a decent amount of it already, but we could do more with it quite quickly. It's an easy enough thing to make. So, my thoughts are, we're going to make a computer factory combined with a circuit board factory. And how do I choose the location? Well, I just chose the kind of middle point between the things that are being made that need to be required. So, if we have a look at this rail line, we know that the station is out to the right. South, I always want to say southeast, but it really just is the south of the map. Moving west along here, passing by a motor factory, passing by the steel refinery. Most importantly though, it's passing by screws and quick wire. And it's going to come all the way up already to where we make plastic. So, somewhere around here, in this nice big open area of water, or we could have done it out by the waterfall. I kind of scoped out that area. There's a reason why I'm not going to go there that I'll talk about later. So somewhere out here, we're going to start laying the foundations now for a circuit board factory, and we're going to readjust the rail line so that it can pick up quick wire, pick up screws, and then also collect the plastic that's needed from the oil processing plant and deliver it all there, and that should be everything. Bob's your uncle, job done, bish bash bosh, in the bag. So that's how I decided it. So really quickly, a lot has been going on in between episodes. I've been to Ireland, and I brought my laptop with me, and I tried to do some of the more mundane things in the background, although I didn't have that much time to play games. I was seeing family and stuff. But I did get a little bit done. So, let's quickly take a tour of what I did with the turbo fuel at the end of the last episode. I've also just picked up a bunch of tickets. Have I done that, actually? No. Let's pick them up right now. We've got 30 tickets lying in wait here. I'm just going to get rid of the leaves, print out our tickets, take them on. Alright, so this is now obviously making turbo fuel, 20 per minute. I've capped it at 20 per minute. We could do a little bit more if I wanted to give up the plastic, but don't really feel like I need to. I've also, in between episodes, killed and destroyed all of my trucks and all of the manufacturers that were out on this lake, if people remember. I just had a temporary little lake there. I had roads and everything going towards it. It's all gone. I'll talk about why later. I just don't want to be talking for so long here at the beginning before doing anything. But basically, rail is going to replace a lot of that, and trucks will just be smaller, shorter routes going forward. So here we are inside of the oil. Well, basically, it's twofold, right? It's oil extraction, but it's also fuel refinement. Fuel comes into here and gets refined into turbo fuel. So the only thing that's changed in between episodes is I've moved these refiners forward about a half foundation. But the logistics and, the logic of everything has just stayed in place. So everything's just moved and shifted forward. Just because there wasn't enough room, really, for... it just didn't really make sense, the way things are laid out. Now there's a lot more room, although I did have to have a half foundation here of just, basically, whatever you want to call this, a walkway. I did try to double up the glass twice over, but it kind of clipped and looked weird. So there we go. That's the only real change. I've also hooked up the lights and things like that, so... room looks a little bit nicer, and of course at nighttime the floodlights come on to match the rest of the building. I just cleaned up some of the windows and things, put in my valves. I like my valves. This decides how much turbo fuel goes to the next room rather than just going to the fuel generator. So basically capped it at 30. It's more than it needs. It only needs 20, and that's been doing just fine ever since. So yeah, so that's basically the turbo fuel room. Now in between episodes also I put the roof on the building, so that's just using the regular roof flat object. I noticed that you can't actually use conveyor floor holes with roof tiles. You have to use foundations, then the floor holes work. So I basically just replaced that, put it back, and then it worked just fine. It's kind of temporary. I'm sure this will probably be tucked away somewhere. It'll be a bit more neat in the future, but for now, I made it a little bit more organized and it looks good enough, I think. Alright, so let's hop out here. So this is the other new thing that I've got going, is a walkway that leads up to the railway station above us. So of course we kind of put in a railway station really quickly, didn't have much time to try to make it look decent or anything, and now there's just, and I had to like awkwardly fly up there with the jetpack and with ladders. Now we can just walk all the way up. It is just a straight, 6-floor staircase, but it's pretty good. I like the way it looks anyway. I suppose Hyperchoose might be good in future. Anyways, Let's access the awesome shop. Things have changed. We now have access to the boombox. So, a boombox, I will admit I've played around with it already. I wanted to see how it worked. I actually didn't see the trailer for the game, for the update, and saw this beforehand, and I was like, what the hell is this? It's a shame I wasn't recording, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to check it out, and then I saw it in the trailer, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. Alright, anyway, so, add it to the cart. It plays music tapes. Apparently, so you can buy music tapes here from all the other Coffee Stain published games, or a lot of them. And there's also others that are apparently dotted out in the world. So there's, for instance, Goat Simulator, there's Sanctum. Those are 2 games I've heard. I gotta be honest, haven't heard of these games. And then the Fix-It one is pretty cool too, so let's try that. I've only listened to the Fix-It one. I've never played Goat Simulator. Did I add that to my cart? Yeah, it's free anyway. I love how that one's like, doesn't cost anything, but the others do. The thing I actually came into here for when I saw it was I wanted metal pillars. Architecture, there we go. Let's get some of those. So what have we got? We have Joel Synthol Boombox, Absolute Fix-It, and Goat Music. So that'll get us started, no problem. Let's go. Oh. I don't have room for it, actually. Let's get rid of the compact coal. We'll take it on that way. Alright, so before we take it out, let's just hide our UI because it has a cool animation. Just throw this on the ground. No tape in the boombox. Oh, you can't do the turbo bass without a tape inside. Now, I just realized I'm actually playing music in the background, so I'm just going to turn that off. There we go. All right, let's put in one of our tapes. Change tape, Absolute Fix-It, Joel Synthol. Let's try this one. I haven't heard it. And I think it just plays automatically, doesn't it? I can see the tape turning. Tapes are like ancient technology to anyone born after 2000. Which is kind of weird to think about. Oh, I need to turn up the music. That'll do it. Let's keep it on about 70. Now, something you can do, this room is kind of loud, I guess, but you can put down the boombox, and then it'll just play in the room. So you could put down a few of these and have the same tape in them, I guess, maybe? And you could just have a sound system in different factories playing different songs, I think you could just make these again. Well, I don't see why not, although you can't delete it, actually, thinking about it. I'm assuming it's just equipment you make in the equipment workshop. Alright, let's just equip it back up. Let's fart. Boom. Box. Alright, and then you can just holster it and take the music with you, sort of like a Walkman. Alright, let's go. So like I said, not the most elegant, not the most impressive staircase ever, but it does the job. It gets us up to this floor. So, let's get building. This is our existing train station. Did I mention it already? I built a second line. I don't think I did mention it. Yeah, so in the time between times, I built a second railway line moving along parallel to this one. This is why I haven't beautified or made it look any better yet, because I just still don't have the materials for it. I've got some of the steel, actually, that we had stored in boxes over there that we're going to be using a bit later. Oh man, just looking at that reminded me. I was going to start the episode over there, and that's why there's a M.A.M over there. We want to get our hard drives under research. So in between episodes, I went ahead and found 5. So let's get them scanned. It's 10 minutes on the clock. But basically, I went north. We unlocked this radar tower at the end of the last episode, and I just flew around finding hard drives really quickly, basically, with the object scanner. Yeah, so there's none around here. We just went around and found some, and found about 5. Found a bunch of slugs. I've got tons of power shards now, 40. So absolutely crushing it. But the power has died in the radar towers. So we'll have to go and hook those up and keep them permanently going now. Loads of people told me, by the way, yes, that the information I was working on was outdated on the wiki for the radar towers. The new way it works in update 6 is that they do just activate instantly, and they give you a kind of a sit rep of everything that's in that region at the time. So if you want to know where more hard drives are, and this is why I kind of prefer not looking up the location of everything, because it's like, I've got the tools in the game. That's, the intention of the game design is for me to go find these. So I'm happy doing it that way. If there was some that I could not find and I knew there was more in the world, I would look it up. But either way, the radar should be able to give me a pretty good idea of what to do. So I was thinking of really just building the factory somewhere out here. One of the reasons, like I said, that I didn't want to build it any further down is because in future I might get more Caterium, and there's Caterium right over there. But there's also Caterium on the waterfall. So I was actually thinking like, oh, it'd be so cool to build on the waterfall, but eventually I'll probably have a train pick this up and pick this up and just deliver it into here. So I think it'd be just awkward building it there. There should be one somewhere up here too. It might be too far away from it to trigger, but I'm pretty sure it said there was one up there before. Alright, well anyways, let's continue. So, I'll be honest, I actually tried doing this episode before and I made a huge mistake, which is I built off of this, and this is at a weird diagonal angle, which means that it's not on the world grid. The world grid is there, diagonal to where I am now. This was diagonal just because I turned it from the world grid originally. Anyways, long story short, it could really mess up the factory if I build off of this. Building the train station off of this is fine, but building everything else off of this is not. So we need to start actually down here and then choose to rotate, because otherwise it'll be like a half foundation off and it'll be all messed up. So that's where it needs to start. Although I'm still kind of confused at why it does this. Yeah, so let's just do that. I think if I go vertical and I just build all the way up, this will give me a good indication. So that's the factory limits, sort of. And it can come up another one, right? Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. Alright, I like this music, by the way. We could put down the boombox. Maybe just leave it here. That's kind of cool. Alright, so we have our to-do list on the right-hand side of the screen. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my chair. The first one is train station placement. So I think that it's important to work with the train station placement first, and then build the foundations of the factory below. So something like this. Let's just get this, go out that way. And I'll have to build some towers and things, of course. Tell you what, I'll pick this up and put it in the middle. Just somewhere like here for now. Alright, cool. And that way it's not too loud. So, lessons being learned, you know. I always say that in this series. I'm always learning as I go. One of the constant lessons is you just should have built bigger. Always build bigger, build way bigger than you need. If anything, build twice as big as you think you'll need it. Not because you're going to fill up the room later, but because just to hide things like, as well, if you want to make things look nice, you need the extra space for sort of beauty building, hiding foundations, hiding wiring, things like that, hiding lighting. So that's what we're going to do with this one, but also going to need a lot of room for the train station. It's going to be a big one, I think. Actually, no, I am just going to have to take that, because I'm going to be building on top of this. Let's just put it away. Good music, though. So I'm just trying to work out where this is going to come in this way. Yep. Alright, good. So we can start the station. Transport, train station. I'll talk about what I mean. So we want it facing out this way. I want it to come into the middle, right about there. Hoping that's okay. It should give it enough room to still join on. Now what we're going to need is, I'd say, another 3 out this way at least. Maybe even 4. Let's just go a little bit more than I thought I'd need. Alright, cool. So, remember, I know what's going to be made in this factory, so now I have to decide how many freight platforms are going to come in. Now, you could do it in 2 ways, right? You could have a train that has a load of goods in one freight car. So you could have lots of different goods in one freight car, and they'd all come into this area here, and then just get sorted. We could have smart splitters sorting them and figuring out what needs to go where, right? But instead of that, I want to just have a car, each freight car, deal with its own good. I just think that's better for longer term planning. Having played other railway games, it just seems to be the way you should go. So I'm going to build 4 of these, I think. So it's basically, stuff is going to come out of all these, you know, conveyor holes. Not, oh, actually, just realized I'll need a 5th one. 1 for loading. Yeah, you need 1 for loading, not just unloading, right? I guess you could have the same one. No, let's not get crazy. So maybe 5 out. Because we're going to be sending out computers, possibly, and circuit boards, possibly. Computers and circuit boards could go into the same car. There's never going to be a car full of circuit boards, not in this place. Or, I mean, computers. They're made too slowly. 2, 3, 4. And trucks will probably pick them up instead. I think trains are better for like things that are mass produced, right? So what I was like to think in the future would be like, oh, you could have like tens of thousands of Caterium ore going somewhere, rather than final products like computers where it's like not that much really. You could have a train running every like hour to fill one up. Okay, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be like, for instance, screws. Lots of screws are going to be used. Plastic, cable. What's the other one? Let me just see. Quick wire. That's it. And then definitely one place to take this stuff out, in case there's ever needs to be an export route. Or I'm just thinking now out loud, but you could have a separate line. This could be the drop-off station, and a separate station for pickups. I might do that instead, actually. And that way you can have loads of room out here and just extend it further if you wanted to. So yeah, I'll leave it. It just means that the train that drops things off won't be able to pick things up. But that's okay. I don't think I'll ever have that happen. You could still do that, but yeah. Anyways, I digress. Let's just get a bit more focused. So, train station placement. 1, 2, yeah, 4 goods coming in here. I don't think there's ever going to be more than 4 goods coming in. So we can go 1, 2, 3... cut this maybe here and start making its way back to the rail line. So I'll just cut this off. Alright, nice. Coming out the middle here, and it's just going to be a single line. Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure it was centered, because it can look like you can bring it up to a cut point. A separation point, and it could just be a little tilted, and then when you put the next one in, it's trying to curve it and stuff, but that seems straight, so that seems good to me. Alright, then we just grab this, we just go straight. Almost all the way to the end. We'll just leave a gap like I did before of 1. So unfortunately this is just a bit too short. So we'll just go to about here. Let's make another one that goes just 1 short. Okay. The M.A.M analysis is completo. Let's check it out. What do we got? Oh, speaking of versatile frames, we have a different recipe for it. Alternate fused quick wire. 90 quick wire per minute. At the moment, you just send in straight. I don't want to be messing with that. It's kind of tempting though, because there is 2 copper deposits next to a Caterium deposit a little further back, where our quick wire factory is. Kind of tempting. Making 3 per minute. It makes the same amount. That makes 2 per minute. I think I'm preferring that. I don't think I'm going to mix copper to get 90 quick wire per minute. Let me just check that. It's 1 in, and you get 60 per minute. Whereas if you add 5 copper to it, you get an extra 30 per minute. I just don't think that's worth it. Not to me. But maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, we'll just go with this. Confirm. Let's open up another one. Boom. Let's just complete that. Anyway, we can get them all eventually, which is good. So let's just cut this. This actually might fit just quite nicely here. Oh wow, the tower is super far away. Okay, oh my god. Thank God for the jetpack. Yeah, looks pretty good. Yeah, it's a nice little curve. Works out. And then this can just connect straight on. And it creates that signal automatically whenever there's like a junction. It just knows. So I'm planning the left side to go north and the right side to go south. So this is forward and that's back. So in our world, in my world, we drive on the left side, I guess. Okay, cool. So that comes in, and then we just need to join the other side. Alrighty, so after a lot of faffery, I finally got it in place, looking good, and hopefully working well also. Well as well. So basically I had to move everything down a bit further, which meant redoing that section over there. So lesson learned is that I should probably get the railway thing done first. So the adjoining railway, the bit that goes onto the main line, should really be done first. So you cut away these 2 lines, and then you kind of just figure out where to place them, and then join the main bus back onto itself, if that makes sense. That seems to go way smoother than the way I was doing it. So that's how I do it in future. I'll probably cut out so much of what I was doing before. So if I have skipped ahead and just kind of, it's kind of just done now, I'll try to show it again in future. But I've faffed around, like I said, for quite a bit there. So basically what we're left with is a railway line that kind of loops and connects onto our main line, our main double line. And then we have a station, which now has the station at the front and 4 freight platforms to unload stuff from. This is going to be the unloading station. There might one day be a loading station up here, but I'm not too sure. I've also just ticked it off on the train station placement, so that's now locked in, not going to move. So next up is doing the foundations. So the foundations are down here. I basically started it and then I realized, you know what, that all needs to be cut out. So basically started work on it down here, and actually while I was messing around with it, I was thinking like, oh my god, it'd be so cool if you could make like underwater bases. Not that I think there's any need for it in this game, but it would be kind of cool, like merge a bit of Subnautica in there, get underwater, some underwater deposits of some sort. I'd dig it. I think that'd be pretty cool. Anyways, I'm sure someone said it to them before. So, what we need to do is just extend this pretty much out a bit further. It's going to come out further than that, and I want it to be mostly built out in the water here. We can always add to it and change it around. Then there's probably going to be a road that joins it onto the beach for any truck stations that need to come in and do their thing. So it just need to be at least the length of the platforms up above. Somewhere around to here. It doesn't have to be the exact length. Somewhere, that's where it turns. So this is probably a good spot, actually. Right there. Are we in line? I think we are. We might be a half foundation in line, which if that's happened, would be the second time it technically happened, and I'd be very confused. Nope, looks like we're good. Okay, cool. I don't know how I did that before. Anyways. And I built the entire factory. Sort of. There's nothing really inside. I've done a lot, and the reason is there was a huge amount of trial and error. So much so that there was so much unusable footage because I was just constantly second guessing or tearing stuff down, going, this isn't gonna work, this isn't gonna work. And that was after a lot of prep time and everything. I just wasn't happy with how it was shaping up together. So I'm gonna go into this factory, walk around, talk you through some of my ideas, and trust me when I say I have cut out the most boring stuff ever, okay? You have not missed much. I know a lot of people say they like to see the build process and stuff, but there was really nothing usable in terms of like how I built this. It was just painful. It was just pain. And I'm actually going to be making changes to the series going forward based on this, and I'll talk about that a little bit later towards the end of the episode. So, without any further delay, let's just get into it. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention really quickly was during this time I was obviously getting the hard drives and analyzing them in the M.A.M. And one of the recipes I got was for screws. It's the alternate screw recipe that just takes ingots. So a lot of people have been asking me to get this or hoping that I would get it, where instead of having to make rods and then refine the rods into screws, we can just cut out the rods completely and just get the iron ingots straight into screws. Now we've just built a giant screw factory 7 or 8 episodes ago, I guess, at this point. And I'm going to be building a rail station on it to actually take the screws up to this place so it could be thrown into the computers and the manufacturers so they could be made into computers. So it's worked out quite nicely that we've gotten it now because I can just eliminate an entire floor from the previous factory and build a rail station in that extra space, if that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of reorganization of the other place if you remember it. We'll actually pay it a little visit at the end here. So let's have a look at what's going actually on the subject of M.A.M analysis. Let's just quickly check the M.A.M. We've got another one that's just done, but I haven't actually selected it yet. I think I know which one I am going to select, and that is wet concrete. People have been saying to get this one as well before. Kind of tempting to get the coated iron plates. It's a pretty good amount of iron plates that you get out. 75 per minute is quite a high number. But we've never increased concrete production ever. I don't know if you need it in much else in future recipes, but I'd like to just increase the general production if I can. And considering just it's only mixing like a water extractor and some limestone, you get more out of it, 80 per minute. I think I'd like to do that. So let's go with this one. Then we can pop in our extra hard drive and get scanning yet again. So I've actually already ticked it off on the to-do list on the right-hand side. So let's have a little tour of the factory and show you what I've been doing. So basically, in the trial and error failures, I kept ending up with a giant kind of cuboid shape, and it was rather featureless and very boring to look at. So I decided to go for something that was a bit more, what's the word? Like it had just a bit more definition. So I tried to kind of cut in and cut out and build pillars and things like that. Now, I actually saw these pillars on Reddit, the idea of having a giant concrete pillar then with smaller metal pillars in between. That was something I'd always been planning to do, but I couldn't quite find the right shape for it before. Now, the roof isn't done yet either. There's lots that's not done, but I just kind of thought I would show it off here, get some feedback before I get into the episode again next time. Now, this is something I actually got from the trailer for Update 6. The idea of placing down leaves on top of something just out in the world to create like a little bush effect. I think it looks awesome. Now, I don't know if they stay there forever. I think they do. Hope they do. And if they do, then we've got really nice looking like little bushes. So in order to do that, I thought I would just show how you do it. I've just placed down basically a beam support on top of a small concrete pillar. And then if you just have leaves in your inventory and just toss them out while looking at the object that you're wanting to place them on, it's a little trial and error. You'll get it pretty much where you want it. And obviously you just want to dump one if you can instead of all 13. But I'm just doing it to show you how that works. But that's basically how it works. I think it looks really cool, really good. I'm going to try and dot them around in more places if possible. They did say that they're never really going to add vegetation stuff that you can place. One day I'll probably use a mod if it's possible to put down trees and stuff. Because I do think having a little bit of greenery would be nice. Now I know, I get it. It's a factory game. I get the idea of exploiting a planet and all of that. But I don't know, at the same time, I just want to be able to put down a little bit of shrubbery and stuff every now and then. So let's walk inside. So this place is empty. Haven't actually filled its insides yet, but I have built basically a stairwell at the front here. So just really quickly, this entire area here, with all the windows going up the front and this front bit jutting out, is just a giant stairwell that takes to the top. So an issue with this place already would be that there's no hypertubes. I'm not really a massive fan of hypertubes. I actually prefer stairs, but it would be nice to get hypertubes somewhere in here just to make the journey a little bit quicker all the way to the very top. Inside, we've just got this kind of like water basin, I guess. I decided to leave it there. You could just pave it or concrete or put the floor right below where we're walking right now, but I thought it kind of looked cool, seeing a little bit of water below, and you can actually hear it. Barely, but you can hear it. And I just kind of think it's kind of calming and kind of nice. So this would be the main factory floor, and this is where I'm trying to still constantly decide where is everything going to go. I know that I want 10 assemblers, and I know that I want at least 2 manufacturers. And as I said before, you always want to build and plan for bigger things. So I feel like 2 manufacturers just isn't enough long term. So what I was thinking of is having, you know, maybe doubling everything, having 20 assemblers and having something like 4, 5, 6 maybe manufacturers or something like that. Even if a lot of them are powered off for the time being, having the space to do it would be good. So what I might end up already doing early on here is expanding this wall out further. So it won't be a kind of a square shape like it is now. It'll probably, this floor at least, not the top floors, but this floor at least might come out a bit further. Another thing I want to have is a docking bay for trucks to come in, like a truck station bay. And a road that almost comes through the place so that we can have a little bit cleaner sort of road transport and parking without them bumping into each other and stuff. So that's something I've got planned. If you have ideas and things like that, that'd be great. I'm also hoping to have like a lot of wide open spaces for lots of room for lights, and also want to be able to tuck away as much of the cables and wiring as possible. So I'm trying to factor all of that stuff in as well. So it's quite difficult. I've really been messing around. I must have put down these assemblers like, I don't know, 20 times at least, and just never been happy with it yet. And I've kind of decided that I need to just block out rooms, make a control room for the lights and the power, then have a room for maybe sorting that takes in the stuff from the train stations, maybe then have a room for all the assemblers, and then for the manufacturers. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment, but obviously it's not done yet. So let's go upstairs. The next floor up, there's nothing here, but I feel like this would be actually a good little area for an extra walkway that could either cut around or cut into other rooms a bit quicker, or maybe deal with some of the logistics that are a bit higher up. Something like that. So there's room there for a little area to expand as we go up further. There's, again, I don't think there's anything here. This would be just like, again, if you wanted to be even higher up, you could do it this way too. So there's room for, like I said, again, little walkways, things like that there. As we go further up, then we get to our logistical floor. So this is a logistics floor. Here are the floor holes of the train stations that are above me. So there's a train station above me here, and this is for things that are exports, what I'm calling exports, so things leaving the factory, and then imports, the things that come in. So I don't think I'll need that much to leave the factory, but to keep the train stations the same, I decided to have 4 freight train stations or train platforms, and there's 4 coming in. We know that there needs to be 4 coming in. We talked about that already. Quick wire, screws,
plastic, and something else. I don't know why, but I can never remember whatever the fourth one is. It's usually quick-wire, I forget. Anyways, just wait for that autosave. Here we are at the top floor, and this is basically where it's just the railways. So I haven't put the roof on yet. I haven't decided exactly how the roofs are going to look and how the kind of lights are going to work that way. But effectively what I've gone for is just what you saw before, which is a train station with then 4 freight platforms behind it. So the idea of this place would be that trains of length 5 are going to come in here. I also built these like little automated gates. It's actually the first time I've used them. They actually do open when you're on this walkway if you're really close, which is why I've built the walkways just a little bit further back. Generally they don't really open, but they open when a train goes through, and they look really cool that way. So I'm quite happy with that. This is the only one where I've actually connected up the beam connectors and the beams all around it, so it kind of looks like a, if I just get rid of my UI here, like a nice solid steel frame door. You know, I think it looks quite cool. When trains go by, I have tested them a little bit. We'll ride a train in a moment. They do all open for the front carriage. If the back carriages, the freight is empty, then only the bottom 2 open, but if the carriages are full or have something on them, then they all open. So generally it looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. And it might be cool again to have big signs and stuff up above. I might redeem some coupons and tokens or tickets for, what's it called, the billboards. The billboards are huge. They require 10 tickets. So the train station of this one is at that side. It's called Circuit City Exports. And trains will come in this way, right? You have to have a facing direction for a train station. So the facing direction is north for this one. And for this one, it's south for the imports. So nothing's coming through here. I still just have the one train set up. But as you can see, I've actually even already put some signals down. I felt a little bit bad about doing this off camera or cutting this stuff out, because it was just, again, so finicky. But I think I've got it working now where trains will not collide, I think. It's not the most efficient way of doing it. I gotta be honest, the signals in this game are not the best. They have a really weird, what's it called, kind of requirement for where they snap to. You can't just put them anywhere on the rail, and it's a bit strange how they work. I thought maybe it was for junctions, like cut points in the rail line, but it doesn't seem to be the case either. So I have a bit more learning to do about where signals can actually go, because you could definitely tighten up the rail blocks if I could have them closer. If you want to know more about rail signals and you're new to the series or new to the game, I'm not your guy to really give you a guide on that. You should definitely look at some guides on YouTube, but generally speaking, you put these signals down to create blocks in the track. So if there's one here and there's one here, let's say, then if a train is occupying this tile, only one can occupy a block at a time. That's basically the rule. So you just block pretty often, but usually you want to block the length of a train, otherwise they can get confused and get locked up on them. There's also then the other ones, which are called, in this game, they're called path signals, which kind of look to the block ahead of itself to figure out if you can go through the next one. I didn't use any of those for this. I've just used regular blocks. I did a little bit of testing where I put 2 trains down and just sent them on routes around each other, and everything seemed fine, so quite happy with it. So I'll show the blocks as best as I can when we get on our trains. Alright, so seeing as this is the imports, the floor holes are just here outside of the places where things can come out, obviously. So we'll have to do something like this, reverse, send it in, and then we'll do another one like, I guess, here, and just raise this up, lock it in, and then just connect with a belt. And it's as simple as that. It should go downstairs. So there's asphalt here, and then below, oh yeah, it says 2 meters. Yeah, below there's another 2 meter concrete block, and that's because I like the roof to not show the asphalt, because the asphalt will show on the bottom, you know, on the roof, on the floor below. So that's why I did the floor holes already. I would have done it in the episode if it wasn't for just like the finickiness of the trying to get the cosmetics to look good. This is nice music. But anyway, yeah, so I hope people think it looks cool. I'm really happy with it. It took a very long time to kind of come together. I haven't finished everything. Beams need to go around things. I need more windows. Have to put the roof on. There's still lots to do. But this is kind of the functionality of it now is basically ready. I think that's basically everything I have to show. So we might just get going and get on a train and start heading towards... Well, let's test out the signals really quickly. And then we'll head down towards... Oh, the M.A.M is done already. That was quick. Let's see, what do we got? Alright, so a different type of black powder mixing sulfur and compact coal, as opposed to coal and sulfur. Excuse me. Then we have iron ingots, 37.5 per minute by mixing copper ore and water. That seems pretty tempting to do as well. And what's it done in? It's done in a refinery. Oh yeah, instead of a smelter. 37.5 per minute. And then we have rods made in a constructor. So 1 steel, is it? Yeah, steel into iron rods. I don't really know. Maybe I'll just go with this one because I'm planning on doing a bit more with copper going forward. We actually only ever have exploited 1 copper node so far, so we'll go with that one. Alright, we have our final hard drive to check out. Let's just toggle that one off. Alright, hard drives. Cool. Alright, we've got about 10 more minutes to go then, I guess, in the episode. So let's see. Let's pop a train down, and let's ride the rails around so you can see different things. Just really quickly, I guess I'll hop outside very briefly. You can see as that train was coming in there, that signal just flipped on the inside. So you're not allowed to come out here, basically, if a train is occupying anywhere here, really. Didn't explain that very well at all, but if I just grab this, this is all basically one block, this red block here. So if there's any train just even passing by here, trains will not come out. So that, I guess you could call an inefficiency, maybe? But at the end of the day, they can't join that line anyway if that train line's been blocked, so I feel like it's fine. So yep, that's basically how it works. I would like to neaten up where those signals go visually, but I just can't. They seem to kind of snap in where they want to, like I said, so that's kind of the way it is. So let's get inside, and oh, I meant to say, I did actually mention it, but I actually cut it out. This is kind of how I plan on the rail looking going forward. So the rail lines are now 2 wide, of course, right? Generally speaking, they can have 2 rails on them. This one only has 1 on it anyway. But what I plan on doing is having the frame foundation next to another frame foundation, and then the middle having a concrete foundation. And they don't clip. They actually look quite good this way. If I was just to maybe just remove this piece real quickly, this is what they look like underneath. So I think it looks quite good. That'll be the middle, right? And then there'll be a rail on this side and a rail on this side when we've got double rails and when I get to actually add it all up later on. So let's just rehook that back up. I've got what I need to make a train, so let's just do so. I'll just move this a bit forward. Let's go freight car. Freight car. Because we know it's going to be at least 4 long for this place. And that's what I was talking about there. The gate opens if there's like a little freight car. But this one opens fully if the front of the train is there. I saw a video actually. I think it was M.A.M. who did a video. And he had a train with a locomotive, like this thing, at the front and the back. I can't get them to work. So I don't know how that's done. But I couldn't make that work. I tried. Because I was actually planning on just having, initially with the compact coal line, just having it go back and forth on one line. I don't really need it going forward. I'm happy just doing things like this anyway, but it would be good to kind of find that out. Anyways, just in case for certain scenarios where you want a very short line, maybe just going back and forth delivering ore or something. So, let's hop in. We'll go edit the timetable. We now have the oil processing plant, and then we have 2 stations in here, Circuit City imports and Circuit City exports. So, we're on the export line right now, right? Oh no, we're on the import line. Get used to me making that mistake. Let's go imports. Well, actually, let's start with exports. So we'll say exports, imports, oil, and then something like that. We'll just save those changes. Now, before I commit to it, I'll just tell them to do 1 second at each. This way we get to ride the rails and see where everything goes and how it all works, and see if I've messed up at all. Okay, just put these all to 1 second, just so it's super quick, because I'll let it automatically drive itself. Now, another thing, I actually might just put another train down, just really quickly. So we'll just save that, that's fine. It's not automated just yet. I'm going to copy this train, make another one on the other side, and let that just automate and see, like, do we crash, you know? Just fly up here for a sec. So the reason as well I stopped and started recording again is because there's so much still to do. We still have to build the rail stations at the Caterium place, the Quickwire, and also at the Screw Factory. So there's so much to do before this place just even gets up and running. Silly me thinking it was even possible in one episode. I don't know how I would have managed that without just cutting out so much. So just edit a timetable here. Very simple one. Let's just say that this will be exports to the oil processing plant. That's all it does. And then imports. Why not? And I'll just quickly make it down to, I don't know, 5 seconds each. So just sit for 5 seconds each as you're unloading and unloading. Now, obviously, this will be going all the way out to something like... Well, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to be taking computers and circuit boards, but that's what this train would be capable of. So I'll just automate this one, turn off self-driving, let it do its thing. We'll just hop off. Alright, off it goes. And then we'll just climb over to this one, and we'll just tell this one to automate as well, and see if everything works. Okay, seems good so far. Got a good signal. And of course our other train is out there as well. Don't know where it is right now. So the other one's waiting. Love to see it. Love to see it. Feels good, man. So basically I've just done this with using copious amounts of block signals. Just block signals blocking out all the junctions, essentially. And just always having the left side be the forward direction and the right side be the sort of back direction. Alrighty, here we are at the oil refinery. We should only stop for just about a second. So I guess while we're on this route, I can talk through what I'm kind of planning for the series going forward. Oh, that was nice. We didn't even stop. Really good. So the plans for the series going forward, having done things like this and several other builds which are getting so complicated now, my plan is to do just one episode a week. I know that might be annoying for some people, as a lot of people do ask me to do even more than I do already. But it's really difficult, based on the amount of time that has to go into things, especially now. Now, I could just do an episode a week where almost nothing gets... Or, sorry, like 5 episodes a week where almost nothing gets done every single time. But I'm really, at least I think, trying to focus on quality over quantity. I could have just, like, recorded everything I did, right? It was 7 hours of just trial and error. But that would be, I feel like that's just too much for people to watch. I'd rather have something where it's like, we get stuff done, and it looks good. Not just like, a big cube every time. Oh man, look at this. Loving it. Really good. It's working totally well. It doesn't look the best, maybe on the ground, but, looks pretty good. Or it's working pretty good. Alright, anyways, and there's our other train. Yeah, this is all working great, I would say. We're heading back in, and then it's going to circle around one more time and go, oh! Okay. Circuit City Imports. Not sure how it did that. Now, to be honest, trains are never going to have that route. That's a very unusual route I've just given it. Yeah, that's going to be the problem right there. Right as I was saying, things are looking good. The problem is that they're both in the same block at the same time. And this train is quite long, so it's still blocking everything. Well, in my testing, this never happened, but it's because I never had, like... This would be a very strange route to actually have. So I'll just take this off. I'm hoping that when we actually get things running, this won't be an issue. I'm hoping. But if it is, I'll try to fix the things later on. Let's just drive ourselves. Get off this block. It'll be no problem. And the other train should start moving forward as well. Again, another signal, another block a bit further up might fix that. But that was a weird flip thing. See, that shouldn't really happen, because basically the left line, you know, trains aren't really going to be going into imports and then exports. That should never happen. They should be always different trains that do that. So I think it won't be a problem, I think. Anyways, just as we make our way back out to the old screw factory, thought I would just mention, so effectively what I'm planning on doing is one episode a week, and hopefully a higher quality episode where I get a lot of stuff done, and I kind of do a little bit of fast forwarding throughout the episode to show like what I'm building and what I'm planning. One episode a week just gives me more time to kind of focus on making one episode really good. I'll be putting the same amount of time I would have otherwise been doing, it's just that I feel like I'm not getting enough done for each episode, so now it's just going to be just one. So I just thought I should explain that. Alright, let's just stop here. And I think episodes are going to be on Thursdays. So this one will probably be coming out quite late on a Thursday, but in future, hopefully, it should be a bit more of a timely manner during the day, and roughly 40 minutes to an hour long, and hopefully a bit better. We'll see how it goes. So, down here is Caterium. That's where our quickwire is made. So, in the next episode, what I'm hoping to do is build a railway station there, also build a railway station over here, and then hook up the entire logistics and get the insides of the circuit factory done. Like, it'll all be in one episode, and hopefully everything I'm doing, like, there'll be no wasted time, you know? That's the plan anyway. So that's the idea. Let's quickly just jump over to the screw factory and have a look inside here. Like I said, I can remove an entire floor now and refit this building slightly. We'll start on the bottom floors. So if you remember, the bottom floor down here, and there's a half factory, we can double up the size of it now, is where all the smelters are. So we're making iron ingots. Those iron ingots are going upstairs to be made into rods, right? And then the rods go and get made into screws. Now this is the last truck that I have going right now, and it's not on a route. It's just stalled right here. So I'll just hop into it. Yeah, it still has its stuff inside of it. Just hop into it. We'll unload the last cargo. This is the last iron ore delivery that I have. Is that still unloading while I'm even... We'll just keep unloading while we're in here. So we'll flood this factory for the last time with iron ore. Let it just clean out all the machines, clean out all the iron ore, and then I'll basically be designing and retrofitting this factory to use this better kind of recipe that we have and trying to work out the rates for it so that the machines make sense. But it should save a lot. It seems like a pretty good recipe. You know, no need to make all these rods. It's like 20 constructors that we can basically remove on one floor. So it should be pretty good. Right, that's everything unloaded. So of course this is all now just making its rods. The rods come back down and they go back up on the nice glass paneling. Let's go up to floor 3 actually. So floor 3, this is all the rods. Yeah, so this is floor 3 is really where we could just have all the screws be made. Or I could just empty all this out and build the rail station. Because this is, at the moment, this is a temporary setup I have. Because I was trying to clean out this entire place, this was full of screws. I've just been sinking them all, effectively. Looks like they're all pretty much gone. There's still a bit more, and obviously more is going to be coming out now with the extra iron ore we just sent in. So this will be the last time it just gets rid of everything. Do we have any tickets in here? We do, actually. Just do that. So 29 tickets again. Good. So they've just been sunk. No problem there. And as you can see, everything is gone. All the manufacturers and stuff. So now we're going to be building bigger factories with manufacturers, making those circuits. And then after that, making computers. And then a heavy modular frame factory will be after that. And then far flung into the future, going to be destroying this entire building and making a new copper factory also. And then I also have to beautify and make the rail look a bit better. It's another little issue. I'm going to die here. So yeah, so a bit of waffle at the end of the episode. Apologies for it, but I thought I should at least explain my thought process onto everything. As you can see, there's so much to do, so much time that goes into all of this. I'm loving the series, like I'm really enjoying playing it. It's just gotta do better for time management, otherwise no videos come out. Also, people asking about my health. I went to the hospital. Everything turns out to be fine, it seems. Don't know what my weird episode was, with partially losing vision and cognitive issues, but hopefully it was just stress or something. I don't know. I'm not really too sure. The doctors didn't really know, but all the tests were good. I had an MRI scan, blood tests, and a Doppler test, and a few other things. They were saying, like, everything looks good, and they ruled out it being a TIA. They were pretty confident that it wasn't, so... No news is kind of good news, I guess. So, and I haven't had any problems since, so hopefully everything's fine. The only other thing is I'm going away for a wedding at the end of the month, but then after that I should be back with no more interruptions for quite a long time. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very, very much for watching and for the continued support. Sorry that I just cannot give even more time to this. If I could do only Satisfactory, it would be pretty tempting to try that. But there are other games to play too, and other people ask for Anno and Farthest Frontier and all these other games too. So those are the other videos that are going to be going up on the channel, and also Manor Lords, which I'm looking forward to playing. Alright, so that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have suggestions and ideas and thoughts on the current design of that factory, let me know. I will have time now to react to things a bit quicker. You know, because I've got a whole week to look at what people are saying to kind of implement changes and feedback, if you have any. Alright, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and remember, if you want to support the channel directly, you can click the join button to become a channel member. Doing so will get your name in the credits, as well as loyalty badges and emotes to use in the comments. You'll also get exclusive access to my Discord, where there's dedicated channels for each series I'm doing, and it's a great place just to meet others and make some friends.